2025. This is HOA Today, brought to you by Zayuk Smart Property System for HOAs and condos. Zayuk is a fully encompassing system that includes inspections. So not only are we a software company, but we have a team of professional engineers, and we inspect your property, and we bring physical and digital tools to fit. We give you highly valuable digital tools, survey grade level models, survey grade level deliverables, including mapping, and it gives you, your managers, your vendors a lot more information and oversight over your property. And that includes other features such as integrated meetings with work orders and disputes and voting system, and additionally a work order system, your collection system, your contracting system, your invoicing system. It's a very powerful tool, and whoever we show it to, whoever demos it, agrees and thinks, sees the value in it. So if you live in a property, if you live in an association, condo, HOA, distributed, decentralized property ownership system, it's not obvious what to look out for. So, I mentioned earlier today, we're likely going to do a video on what to look out for when you're purchasing into an HOA, probably a whole video. And it comes down to really three things, and there are other things, but the physical hygiene, the asset hygiene of the property you're purchasing into, the financial hygiene of the property you're purchasing into, and usually those two are fairly close aligned, and then three, the governance rules. That that could be a wonderful property in a great location, and you really want to live there for whatever reason. It's close to your work, it's close to your children's schooling, whatever reason that may be. If there are certain rules in the HOA that you don't want to abide by, it is very important you understand that before you make a huge purchase like a home. If you're going to be a resident there, if you're using it as a rental and planning to rent out that unit, it may be that certain rule doesn't affect you since you won't be a resident on the property. But very often when we go through these articles, almost all of them are several things occur. One, dues. A lot of these we just earlier spoke about. A association in Michigan that had a 62% assessment increase from insurance, from having they were supposedly 75% done. And then a lot of them are rules. So we're going to read about a pig that this family brought into their new neighborhood, and that pig was not permitted within the neighborhood. And we'll also speak about some other issues, but a lot of it is information and understanding, and some of these things are years and years in the making. And when I say some of these things, I mean when you purchase into a property, it might be a great location and great price, but there might be some issues with the property, negligence, degradation, that are very overwhelming to overcome. And it's difficult in these systems, decentralized asset ownership systems, HOA, condo associations, when that neglect was before you got there, and then you purchase, and then all of a sudden you are the one who's dealing with the years of maintenance that has been ignored, that has not been done. And in those cases, Zayuk has our smart property system. So inspections, get a survey grade level inspection from us. You will understand your roof. And we have gone through an issue in Minnesota where right now there is a dispute between residents and the board and the management and the actual roofer themselves, because they supposedly were a subsidiary of the management company of this issue. Where what was that like? Was the roof really needed? Did there need to be so did this work need to be done? And the reason it's a big deal is because the assessment came out to roughly $17,000 per unit, and that's when this becomes a huge deal. That's when these things, how obvious it is when you have these massive assessments, massive increases in assessments, and when you, the other thing is when you're there's a few things when your assets are completely degrading. So we have horrible things occur, which adds a liability to everyone. It doesn't necessarily need to be something extreme. It could be sidewalks not being even. It could be balconies or staircases, even if it's not too high, even if it's just say 3 feet off the ground, someone can get seriously hurt. It might not be a fatal accident, but it could be. And even if it's not fatal, that's a huge deal. So these sorts of this a big deal. And as the infrastructure of particularly the United States, but everywhere in the world, and just keep in mind, Zayuk is a global financial system available in 44 different countries. The decentralized asset management systems across those countries are different, but our payment system, our contracting system are available in all those countries. And the basic tenets of shared property ownership are roughly the same. And the understanding of governance, the understanding of building hygiene, the understanding of financial hygiene, that is universal. The rules are going to be set in place for certain buildings. And the difference in how those rules are set are what are determined by national governments, state governments, local municipalities. For example, earlier today we spoke about how Texas and Michigan do not have requirements set out for assessment increases, where California has a 20% maximum, unless I believe there was it needs to be voted on by the association if it's more than 20%, whereas Michigan and Texas did not have that requirement. So we'll go through some various articles over some issues going on around the United States. So we spoke about this pig last week. Shawnee family faces losing pet pig to local HOA's rules. The family is going to be forced possibly to give up their pig. Concerns from the neighbors, livestock, and it's a miniature pig, but again, it's a small step. You go from miniature pig to 2 chickens, and if you've ever lived near chickens, they just go at it. Quote, the Crimson Ridge Homeowners Association, unquote. The pig is 7 years old. Flown from Idaho to Los Angeles. Yes, it's very difficult, but this is why you have to be very serious, because it's not, I mean, nobody wants to deal with these things. It's your home. It's that neighborhood's certain right to have no livestock. So, quote, on April 15th, before moving to their new house, this person contacted the president of the neighborhood HOA to make sure owning the pig wasn't against HOA rules. That same day, the president replied, quote, no animals, livestock, or poultry of any kind shall be raised, bred, or kept on any lot, unquote. And the HOA board would discuss it. And the HOA president says it was explicitly not approved. And the individual who was looking to live in the HOA did not have approval, according to the president. This is from the Johnson County Post. This is a big deal. You sign a contract to live by those laws before you join the membership. And so once you join the membership, you have signed that contract. And if you want to live there, that's a serious obligation. It's not as though it's not legally binding. It is legally binding. By the way, I'm no lawyer, and none of this is legal advice. Okay, so let's continue. According to the news.prairie public, some North Dakota condominium associations say they're having trouble finding insurance. Depending on the risk. This is saying that it has to do with apparently it just says risk. It doesn't say exactly what kind of risk. Shopping around with independent agents can write it with multiple companies. Higher deductibles. This isn't a very well written article. So here I'm not going to read this article either. Also looks poorly written. This is from Appen Media. Quote, Dunwoody Homeowner Association hears from school board member Zeifer. And this is DeKalb County School Board. $25 community members. District 80. District 1 candidate. attracting. So one of the cornerstones of the community involves, quote, rebranding, expanding programming, and attracting younger families, unquote. Manage its more than $2 billion budget for the school district. The homeowner association is finalizing its website, rolling out new events to meet with community members. The school board updated its accounting system. 14,000 employees, 92,000 students in that budget. I'm still not sure what the homeowner association is doing so closely with this school. Closing 30 schools countywide. Most of the schools below 50% enrollment capacity are in South DeKalb and are still performing at or below other schools at 90% or more. That's very unique situation where the homeowner association hears from a school board member. Understanding I would guess it's a larger homeowner association. Okay, here from the Las Vegas Review Journal, HOA stalls in removing tree that landed on condo building. It's lying on one of their buildings. It was in the patio area of building 1 and fell on building 2 after a storm in Las Vegas. 50+ year condo community. Wow, that's horrible. No idea if management submitted an insurance claim. No idea what information and direction the board might have been given. Quote, management doesn't believe they need to meet with the owners, unquote. Quote, you have a tree lying on a building, unquote. So that happened in 2024, and this homeowner association handled it by getting a vendor out. It's quite a scene. It took more than a week with no response, allegedly. And then the owner started getting bids. Wow. Well, everyone, I'm going to end the live stream here. Thank you. That's a horrible situation. But again, even with that, you'd want an inspector to come out, as they said afterwards, like Zayuk. You want to get everything documented, everything. You want it survey grade level as well. When I say survey grade level, that means our drones, our reality capture technology, we get 3D models and we give them to you in your prop tech technology. So it's the same application you do your work orders in, your invoicing in, your collections in, understanding your contract, working with your management company or your vendors. And that's how it's actually useful because of the accessibility of